Hey, welcome to Two Doctors Homestead. My name's Daniel, and today we're going to do a little off-grid breakfast using some of our preps. So, a couple things from the Prepper Pantry pick of the week are the quick cooking oats, and then a little crazy, I like a little creamy peanut butter in mine. I'll show you how I make it. We talk about calories and whatnot, but to make this off-grid, I'm going to use my Cuisinart cooktop here that we showed in another video, and I have an electrical meter. So just as a twist here, we're going to look up how much electricity it really takes to make a serving or a couple servings. You know, my breakfast using the oatmeal right now, I'm plugged in to my solar. So I have an outlet in the wall behind me that goes out to my solar setup, my power backup system outside. So we're gonna plug it all in, fire it up, boil some water, make some tasty oatmeal, talk about, you know, maybe calories per serving and whatnot, get some information about the oatmeal. But I'm also gonna go outside and check the battery bank. So before I start cooking, we're gonna break real quick, run out there, look at the battery bank, see where the charge is at now. I have 4 200 amp hour batteries. And then come back afterwards and look at how much electricity or what percentage of battery I used, as well as checking the meter to check watts. So the question is, if you had solar backup, what would it take to sit down with your Prepper Pantry, your oatmeal, and whatever else you like to put in it and make breakfast. So it's going to be a couple parts here, and we'll get rolling. So first thing we're going to do is go outside and check on the solar. Alright, so we're outside at the battery backup bank, and you can see it's at 100% right now. If we can get that up to the camera, 800 amp hours, 13.7 volts. So honestly, I'm not expecting this to really dent my backup power at all, especially the panels are going. The sun is up. It's a nice warm day. We're about plus 7 amps because everything's at 100%. But we wanted to check it out, and we'll come back out at the end and see where we're at. And that's the chickens. They're saying hello. They want to be part of the video. So let's head back in and get started cooking. All right, so we're back. We checked the solar. Right now the battery's at 100%. So let's get rolling here. First thing I like to do is add water. This is 3 cups. I may not use it all. I'm really just going to kind of go how I would normally make it. And honestly, I don't usually measure as I'm going. So we'll go and pour it in and see what that looks like. Yeah, that works for me. So we're doing 3 cups of water. Get that out of the way. Let's turn it on. This is my first time to use this here. I guess that's on right there. And we're gonna go to max, right? We want to boil some water. So that seems like on and max. See how long it takes to boil the water, and we're using 1440 watts. So that's actually a pretty good draw. Right, if you've got a smaller system, a Jackery or something like that, you may not have 1440 watts. So that's a good thing to know initially. Now I've got a 2000 watt inverter, so my system outside should be fine. And I'm curious, with the sun out, if it's really gonna put a dent in my batteries at all, but we'll find out. So one advantage of this, certainly you might be saying, oh, I don't need solar, I have firewood, right? If there's a grid down, if there's any kind of SHTF scenario, I'm just gonna cook on my cowboy cooker, and you certainly can, and that is a great option. I've got one as well, and we're talking about maybe doing a video around that. We'll see. It's about 100 degrees outside right now, so I'm not thinking about campfires. One of the advantages of solar, as you already know, it's renewable, right? So whether we dent the batteries on this or not, I could do it every day, right? As long as solar is charging the batteries and the batteries last, which should be many more years, you could cook like this every day. With the campfire, you've got to have firewood, right? And you may live near a forest and say that's not a problem. I have unlimited firewood, and if you do, that's great. Not everyone does. Firewood does need time to age. You don't necessarily just cut a tree down, chop it up, and start burning it. So do you have enough firewood stacked up so that the new firewood you're cutting has time to age, and you know, before you run out of firewood cooking every day? And that's it. That's not a bad option. That's been the option for thousands of years, right? I'm not putting down campfires and firewood. I like having the backup solar as long as we don't get hit by an EMP and my solar all gets wiped out. I think it's a good backup option. It's sort of limitless, right? That's the big thing they're selling society. In this case, at this scale, I think we're all right, right? So we're going. We'll see. Don't know how long it's going to take to boil. It may not chat it up the entire time. It's let's see. So I'm just going to set a timer here, and we can see how long this plate takes to boil the water. I do like to boil the water before we add the oatmeal to it. So I set a stopwatch, and I'm not going to necessarily ramble away the whole time. So this is my first time using the grill. It is starting to warm up a little bit. Don't touch the hot part, right? So let's see. I think we'll pause here for a second, and I'll come back when it's done boiling. So again, the electrical's holding in at about 1400 watts. So let's see how long this takes, and we'll come back. All right, we're back. You got good signs of a boil. That only took about 3.5 minutes for the 3 cups, plus the time. I didn't track when I was just chatting it up, but that was actually pretty quick. We got the water's where I want it to be, so we're going to open up our oatmeal. Said always get stuff, if you're building a pantry, kind of a long-term food storage pantry, get stuff you eat. And I actually do like eating oatmeal. There's some debate on whether it works on keto, and we try to stay keto where we can, but either way, oatmeal is a good healthy choice for breakfast. So that was 1 cup. So I don't usually measure, so I'm gonna kind of measure and eyeball it. We're probably going 2 cups here. That's looking pretty good. Yeah, I think that's about the right amount. It's boiling, so this is a good little hot plate here if we boil up the water like that quickly. So this is my first time to use it. We're gonna go and turn it off. So it's off there, and now it's off there. Did mention my secret ingredient here. I do like to put a couple spoonfuls of peanut butter in the oatmeal. If you never tried it, it's actually pretty good. It does boost up the protein and whatnot. So we're going to call that about a tablespoon, maybe 2 tablespoons, a good scoop. So the 2 tablespoons here gives me 7 grams of protein in the oatmeal. And actually getting that when it's hot, it will melt out nicely. And then I said I used 2 cups of oatmeal, which is about 4 servings of oatmeal. So that would be another 20 grams of protein. So you look at almost 30 grams of protein here for breakfast. So this is good to go, and it only took a couple minutes. As I said, maybe 5 minutes total. I was chatting for a couple minutes before I turned the timer on, and you got something really tasty. So we're gonna let it cool off. So and healthy too, right? You got a lot of protein in here. You have some fiber in here, right? So actually a tasty, healthy breakfast. And I doubt it even put a dent in the solar. I'm just gonna put the hot plate on the wooden table for right now. So we're gonna pause once again for a second. We're gonna let this cool off before I start eating it, and let's go check the solar and see the damage. This looks like, if I'm reading this right, about 3680 watts, I think, if I'm reading that. Total wattage used, and it's about 7 minutes that this is on, I think. I'm still new to the meter. So we'll say 3680 watts for 7 minutes. So So I think if you divided that out as an hour, that would be about 360 watts for an hour, but 3,600 watts for 7 minutes. All right, this is good to go. Let's run outside and check the batteries. All right, you can hear the inverter fan running, and the battery here shows 99% or 790 amp hours, right? And you can see it's in full charge mode right now because it's going plus 36 amps. So the battery went down 1% or about 10 amp hours to make the breakfast. So if you're scoping out your system, once again, 2000 watt inverter, 10 amp hours of power. So let's go back inside and taste out the oatmeal. All right, so it's cooled off a little bit enough to taste it out. So we know the hot plate ran at 1400 watts. We know it took about 7 minutes or so to boil and make my breakfast, and we know it took 10 amp hours off the batteries. I suspect the 8 panels we have, I got 4 on each side, so we can pick up the sun depending on the season. Should be able to recharge that pretty quickly. So might use a little more power than I expected, but if you're sizing a system, if you're scoping it out, you're going to want to do that math. So if my inverter is going to pull 1400 watts, if I didn't have a 2000 watt inverter, or at least a 1400 watt inverter, that's not really a thing, it might not have been able to run, right? So you need to have an inverter large enough to run what you want to run, and then enough batteries that it'll last, right? That you can actually finish the job. So in this case, 1400 watts, 10 amp hours, and you've got a tasty breakfast. So as I do like putting a little oatmeal in, might seem, if you've never tried it, maybe try it out. It's still hot, but it tastes great. It's just a good, healthy, quick breakfast. So thank you for watching, and we appreciate you.